Hello everyone, a very good evening. Welcome to Shri Primetime News. I'm Surusi Gunasekara. Let's look at the headlines first.
Maitri failed to shake hands with President Mahinda Rajapaksa. Ministry of External Affairs issued an official statement. Mother party is best, said parliamentarian Chandrani Bandara.
Defense Secretary Gotabaya Rajapaksa says during the final phase of war, President Mahinda Rajapaksa made independent decision to defeat terrorism.
General Secretary of the Jatika Helarume, Partly Champika Ranawaka, recently said that they have imposed pressures on President to achieve victory in the final perhaps of war. Responding to this statement, Gotabaya went on to say none of them talked to President this regard. President made his independent decision to achieve victory in the final perhaps of war. President planned to hold discussions with the Indian officials to end up the final war. According to this decision, we grant opportunity with LTTE members to hold discussion in this regard.
Opposition presidential candidate Maithripala Sirisena failed to shake hands with President Mahinda Rajapaksa.
President Mahinda Rajapaksa yesterday visited the election secretariat at the Rajagiriya last morning to file his nomination papers at the election secretariat. President, with smiling face, attempted to shake hands with Maithripala Sirisena and he refused to do so.
Hirunika Premachandra, Western Provincial Council member, obtained highest number of preferential vote, has joined to hands with opposition political party.
Speaking to journalists, she went on to say, "This was my independent decision and I will join the opposition to support the opposition." She announced her decision addressing the press conference at the opposition leader's office in Colombo. Addressing the press conference, Premachandra added that she would support common candidate of the opposition Maithripala Sirisena at the upcoming presidential election. "No justice have been done to my father, who was killed 3 years ago. They evenly attend the high profile, even attended by the president. I don't know how it happens," Premachandra added. "I want to step out of the government before, but there was no leadership. The moment we found the right leadership, I decided to make a move," the provincial councillor added.
Tight security arrangements are made in the temple city of Tirupati ahead of a visit of Sri Lankan President Mahinda Rajapaksa, who will be on a 2-day pilgrimage starting Tuesday.
According to Collector Siddharth Jain, the special flight carrier Mr. Rajapaksa and his entourage will be flying into the Renigutta airport at 4:30 p.m. from where he will reach Tirumala Hills by road. After offering prayers late in the evening and participating in the pre-dawn ritual on Wednesday, he will motor down the hills by 8:15 a.m., reach airport by 9:30 a.m. and fly back to Colombo. Salutes led by the Superintendent of Office Gopinath Jati sterilized the airport and Tirumala temple vicinity on Monday ahead of the visit of the VVIP. He also discussed issues pertaining to protective cover with the Sri Lankan security officials. A trial run of the convoy was taken up from the airport to the city.
Our entire generation are SLFPers. Therefore, I have decided to have a discussion with the people and my supporters to support Maithripala Sirisena from within the Sri Lanka Freedom Party with the blessings of the Mahasangha. Today, I will resign from the post of the leader of the House of the Sabaragamu Provincial Council and return the vehicles. Afterwards, I will continue to function as a member of the SLFP in the Sabaragamu Provincial Council.
මයිත්‍රීපාල සිරිසේන මැතිතුමාට සහයෝගය දක්වනව නැද්ද කියන එක When various persons said certain things about Maithripala Sirisena, I clearly stated that he is a good, honest and pure gentleman. I stated it then and I'm stating it now. People in this country began loving me not because I was a personality. After my father was killed, I was left with two options, either stand and fight or remain silent. It has been 3 years since my father was murdered, but the main person and the others involved have not been penalized. Recently, we attended a program to present houses in the Kolonnava area. The main person involved in my father's murder also arrived at the scene along with 40 others. He frowned at me, pointed his finger at me and looked at me as if I was a murderer and stormed past me. I immediately inquired from the police whether such an individual could move around freely. There are families in Kolonnava who have worked tirelessly for the party but who have not received anything in return. From today, my father, who rendered a yeoman's service to the party, will be billed as a bad person, and I will be billed as the worst woman on earth. That is all right. What I have to say is what Rajitha Senaratne said, and that is that a correct election campaign can be carried out. Politics which involves mudslinging is distasteful. That is why I promise to render my fullest support to the victory of common candidate Maithripala Sirisena.
කිසි කෙනෙක්ට අර කියන්නේ කඩයන්නේ නැතුව කිසි පාඩුවේ ඉන්න පුළුවන් රටක් නිර්මාණය කරන්න මම කැප වෙනවා කියන නිල්ලා කියන්නේ.
The Pope will definitely have to come. Why am I saying this? Now the President also has a file on the Pope. Therefore, the Pope has no alternative. He will have to come to Sri Lanka. The Pope will release an official statement by tomorrow or the day after. Because it doesn't surprise us if the government doesn't make such statements. They bought a car for Prince Charles to travel in. Now the youngest son or someone else is using it. We don't know who exactly. There is no taxation for Lamborghini cars. There is an agent in Colombo. You are only taxed when you purchase a Lamborghini, not when it is imported or shipped to Sri Lanka. This has become an amazing country.
The Minister of Economic Development, Basil Rajapaksa, says President Mahinda Rajapaksa used his executive power only against international pressures.
For the past 10 years, President used the powers of executive presidency only for essential issues. During the time of the war, country faced major international pressures and President used his executive powers to defeat them. When we pay our attention towards world and Sri Lankan history, people fight for water and also water creators peace between two communities. People of the country and military personnel sacrificed their lives to ensure peace in the island. Once again, people have received an opportunity to express their gratitude towards President. Mr. Basil Rajapaksa made this statement while addressing water supply project at Gampaha recently.
United National Party parliamentarian Chandrani Bandara says, "I never leave my father's party."
Speaking to journalists at Colombo this afternoon, she added, "Debates are currently underway regarding my crossover. I was born in the United National Party. My father was a senior member of this party. I never make decisions which disrespect my father. I will never leave my father's party," Chandrani Bandara said.
Common opposition presidential candidate Maithripala Sirisena yesterday declared all his assets to the Commissioner of Election Mahinda Deshapriya.
Speaking to media last afternoon, Sirisena said that the details regarding his assets will also be open for the public to gain copies of if a request is made to his campaign office. He also returned unused fuel slips given to him while he was the Minister of Health. Sirisena, meanwhile, accused state television of violating election laws during the live coverage of nominations being handed over yesterday. He said that local media had shown President Mahinda Rajapaksa at his home and then at the election department, thus giving more airtime to the president.
The Federation of University Teachers Association convened a media briefing on Monday with regard to upcoming strike action.
Chairman of the Federation, Chandragupta Tenwara, expressed the following views. We have pointed out how various attempts have been made by the Ministry of Higher Education to sell higher education. As we expressed our protest against bills that were about to be passed, they have resorted to gazette notifications. They have also given privileges of several universities to offer degrees devoid of their stands. This is done bearing a political signature. They are also concerned about the stands of the number of universities. These are our concerns. This is why we would want to resort for a strike action. We would also like to inform that we will be launching a strike action on the 9th of January with cooperation of the All Island University Teachers Federation.
Issuing an official statement, the Minister of External Affairs, Professor G.L. Pires, stated that he is delighted to convey my warm greetings and best wishes on the occasion of SAARC Charter Day.
3 decades ago, our countries established SAARC with the conviction and regional cooperation among countries of South Asia in mutual beneficial, desirable and necessary for promoting the welfare and improving the quality of life of the people of our region. Since then, SAARC has witnessed steady progress in the wide range of areas identified for cooperation, and we can take some pride on our achievements since 1985. Nevertheless, our regular assessment of SAARC has promoted us to appreciate the need for making the organization more result-oriented, the people-centric. 4 persons were hospitalized with injuries sustained in the fire that had erupted yesterday in the room of an animal farm in Walhapitia in Nathandia in Maravilla. Police media spokesman office said that there were 3 small children and among the injured. The army has discovered 9 barrels of oil buried by LTT in Velamule Vaikal area in Mullaitivu. The army media unit stated that the oil barrels were found on land 20 meters away from sea. A small child has died after 56 worms were stuck with her small intensities in Hewa Hatta Hanguranketa area. The girl, a resident of the Lion Estate area in Muloya, Hewa Hatta, was admitted to Rikilagaskada District Hospital on the 2nd of this month due to an acute abdominal pain. A woman was killed this morning when she was attacked with a machete in Galevela Nilagama area. Police media spokesperson's office stated that the suspect has killed his mother-in-law and his wife, sister and the brother were also critically injured.
Security has been stepped up at US facilities around the world ahead of the release of a report expected to reveal details of harsh CIA integration, the White House says.
Embassies and other sites were taking precautions amid some indications of greater risk, a spokesman said. A 480-page summary of the Senate report is due to be released on Tuesday. It is expected to detail the CIA's campaign against al-Qaeda in the aftermath of 9/11, as well as detailing the controversial methods used by CIA operatives in an effort to extract information from high-value suspects. The report is expected to say harsh interrogations failed to deliver appropriate results. Publication of the report has been delayed amid disagreements in Washington over what should be made public. Former CIA lawyer John Rizzo on enhanced interrogation. I don't think I had any other choice. The full 6,000-page report.
Australia is playing in India the first test in Adelaide in an emotion-changing game following the death of Philip Hughes.
The Australian players entered the ground wearing Hughes' Test cap No. 408 on their shirts and black armbands to honour their former teammate. Spectators were then asked to stand for 63 seconds of applause before the game. Hughes, 25, was 63 not out when he was struck on the neck by a bouncer last month. He died 2 days later. His death stunned Australia and the funeral was broadcast live to millions of people on national television and on big screens in major cities. Around 5,000 people attended the service in Hughes's hometown of Maxville, New South Wales. 13th man before the game, both the Australian and Indian teams gathered before a large 408 painted on the oval's playing surface.
The Duke of Cambridge has met US President Barack Obama at the White House as part of a 3-day visit.
Prince William held talks with President Obama in the Oval Office, in advance of the prince's speech to the World Bank on wildlife crime. President Obama said work to protect endangered species was very important. The prince also joked with the president about the chaos surrounding the birth of Prince George. Wildlife speech. Prince William and his wife, the Duchess of Cambridge, arrived in New York last night. He traveled to Washington alone while Catherine remained in New York. At the White House, the prince told the president about his son's arrival, saying, "The excitement of the event and everything else was just chaos." He also predicted a busy year in 2015, when Catherine is due to give birth to the royal couple's second child.
Australian bowler Usain Bolt has returned to action for New South Wales at the Sydney Cricket Ground.
Abbott, who delivered the bouncer that led to the death of Philip Hughes, was selected to face Queensland in a 4-day Sheffield Shield match on Tuesday. The 22-year-old's side bowled first after Queensland won the toss and opted to bat. The match is taking place on the same ground where Hughes was struck and collapsed on November the 25th. Before the game, NSW captain Moises Henriques said, "From our point of view, we are trying to expel his name from the tragedy a little bit. I don't think he was any more at fault than any fast bowler who has ever bowled a bouncer in his career." Hughes, who was 25, died in hospital 2 days after being hit in the neck by the short-pitched delivery during a domestic game.
That's all from Shree News Desk today. Have a pleasant evening. Good night.